I'm a product of the Depression because I was born in 23. And that was probably one of the greatest things to be able to say that you were because of what you went through. So I went to Venice High School and graduated then from there in 1941.
You guys, did you have any Japanese communities here around near your neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, you got to remember, see, this whole general area was bean fields and some truck gardening, which was usually the Japanese. This one Japanese guy was in my grade, and he was a real good friend of mine. And he was sent to Manzanar up there, you know, with everybody else. And his family, everybody. And he came home, and his father came to the ranch and talked to my uncle. And he was destitute, had nothing. And my uncle gave him money and gave him a job. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Shiro Mariyama was the kid. I remember his name, it's like it was yesterday. Because a lot of the Japanese were good friends of mine because you went to school with them, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there were a lot of them. And they had farms all around us. Because what our family did, they were farming lima beans. And, just acres and acres, you know. See, the ranch was 100 acres alone. And between Centinela and the airport, the old Culver City Airport, which is Mesmer, 90% of it is all bean fields.
I was born in Los Angeles, California. I'm a native son, and I was raised between Cadillac and Pico Boulevard, which in those days, and it might still be, was primarily a Jewish area.
What was it like growing up in Culver City? I mean, in Los Angeles, and at that time then?
Oh, it was real nice, real nice. You could leave anything on your yard and it'd still be there the next day. You didn't have to worry about somebody stealing something from the front of your house or anything like that. Now, my father and mother came from Mexico, both of them. So they did not speak English at all. So my first language, even though I was born in the United States, was Spanish. At the Hell's Bakery, this during the Depression, if you had a 100-pound sack, a flour sack, you'd go to Hell's Bakery, and for 25 cents, they'd fill that thing up with bread and donuts and everything. So, you had all kinds of stuff. It was really wonderful. My mother and father used to have to go all the way downtown to Olvera Street. And we'd go to the Mexican stores, and they'd buy a 100-pound sack of flour to make tortillas, a 100-pound sack of rice to make rice, you know.
Well, I was sitting on the rail with my back to the water, and we were talking, smoking, after dinner. I heard us airplanes, and all of a sudden these bombs went off right alongside us with 2 Japanese airplanes. It dove down and dropped some bombs, and we missed, Now, I went on this fans party about 40 miles from there, where they burnt the house down in the machine gun was. And about a month after we were there, the ship came up and picked us up. And they were going to take us up about 20 miles to a spot, dump us off, and we were going to do survey work, and the ship went back underneath the anti-aircraft guns in the harbor, see? And on the way in to what we call Suicide Slot, it was a big Japanese ship sunk with the structure still above the water. And because we were going on the beach, and the motor machinist made on a boat, I was up on what they call the boat deck. It's opened. And I was preparing the boat to go over the side. And I looked up, and here come a Japanese kamikaze. I thought he was coming right at me, but he crashed into this ship about from here to this shed out there from me. They had a 500-pound bomb. It didn't go off, or I wouldn't be here. It went through the deck. There was these guys in the 40-millimeter cannons in the back. They were gone. And the whole after area was gone. Of course, the ship was burning,
I got hit by flak on the leg here. Now, it did not penetrate my skin. It was like somebody getting a baseball bat and swinging it as hard as they could. So my leg, where the flak hit, was as red as it can be, but it didn't break the skin. So I called the pilot up and said, his name was Conley. I said, and his first name was John. I've been hit on the leg. And at the same time, the bombardier from our crew also called the pilot and said, I've been hit. And he's in the nose because he's the bombardier. So 2 of us had been hit, him in the front and me in the ball turret. And anyway, he said to me, come on up into the airplane and let the waist gunners, what they call a waist gunners are the ones that are in the center of the plane. They fire out the sides of the plane. He said, let them check you over to see they can help you if anything is wrong. In other words, let's say that I was bleeding or my leg was all messed up. They would try to patch you up because we don't have doctors or nurses or anything. The only thing they would give us would be morphine so we could stand the pain because there's nothing else, And anyway, I always say that because I got hit by flak, that saved my life. And I'll explain why. I turn the turret so that the guns are facing straight down. That puts me in a position something like this. And then I turn the latches, and that'll open the hatch. And then I climb out and so forth. Well, I got news for you. All I remember is turning the latches. That's all. Not opening the door, just doing the latches. The next thing I know, I'm in the waste compartment and I've got oxygen on me and they're taking care of me. And the reason I tell you that I'm saved because of my leg getting hit, what I didn't know was that my oxygen hose had been cut in half. So there was no oxygen. And since there's no reason to call the pilot if I hadn't been hit or anything like that, I would have died down there because I would have not had the oxygen. They would have had a dead ball turd gunner. And that happened to other guys. And so I was very lucky that they took care of me.